In the meantime, gasoline prices are soaring in this country, pretty much all over the world, but not as much in Mexico. In fact, not nearly as much. And that has tempted Americans at the border to try to get into Mexico, pick up some cheap Mexican gas, and then drive back to the United States. Now Mexico seems to be saying, wait a minute. Well, that's what they're saying. I can't think of the Spanish version for wait a minute, but it's something like that. Mike Sommers is the American Petroleum Institute president and CEO. Mike, what do you make of this? Mexico is now saying it's got to stop. This cheaper gas is for Mexican citizens, right?
Well, I do think it really gives us the opportunity to talk about the importance of American energy security here at home. Americans will obviously vote with their wallet. They're going across the border to get decreased costs on gasoline because they can't get it here at home. And the reason they can't get it here at home is because we have cut supply as a consequence of the pandemic and, of course, some government policies that have made it difficult to produce. So what this really emphasizes is the importance of the United States focusing again on American energy security here at home.
Now, the big difference in Mexico, of course, is, they're all dealing with a lot of the same oil, and well, I get that, but they don't have nearly the taxes that we do or various states do. So that is a big advantage to Americans. But I'm wondering, let's say the Mexicans follow through with this and Americans can't go there for cheaper gas. They're left with the higher, taxes and everything else in the United States. Now, is it your sense that if we were to open up more production in the United States, that prices would instantly start falling, or would it take a while?
Well, one thing we know based on history in this space is that demand tends to come back faster than supply. And when we're dealing with this terrible situation in Ukraine and decreased supply from global providers, we need to renew our focus on producing here in the United States to make up for that gap. So absolutely, we need to be getting more supply out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. But at the same time, you can't say we need more supply from a government entity and then decrease supply here at home in terms of the regulations they put in place for production here. So we anticipate, actually, Neil, that Russian production is going to go down significantly more as a consequence of this war. And where is that supply going to come from? We think it should come from right here in the United States, which means we need a regulatory policy that meets the rhetoric.
So let's talk about some of the things the administration has said about your industry, Mike, and then you can address item by item. One is that the industry is sitting on, these thousands of, licenses and oil fields that they're not tapping themselves. Now, the immediate thought in my head would be, well, I know the oil industry likes to make money. They've maybe concluded that these particular, leases are not worth exploring because they dramatically winnowed down the number of leases from a year ago when they were close to 30,000. But explain what's going on here when they make that argument that, you have ample opportunity and you're not taking advantage of it.
Well, in fact, there are almost 100,000 leases that are currently operational today. And we're at a 20-year high in terms of those leases that are actually producing. So American producers are absolutely using the leases that they have. But to actually produce a lease, you have to have the lease. And then at the same time, you have to have a permit to produce on that lease. This administration has actually cut down that permitting by almost 85% just in the last year alone. So it is a little bit of ironic that the administration is saying you need to use it or lose it when they're the ones that are actually preventing us from producing, in many cases, on those unused leases. So we want to make sure that we're meeting demand, but we need some regulatory support so that we can continue to produce on these federal lands.
Obviously, the administration now seems to have targeted the oil industry for potential abuses here and sticking it to Americans. I know the big oil CEOs are going to be up on Capitol Hill. They tend to be piñatas in that environment. How are they going to explain what's going on and this notion that they're almost acting as a cabal?
Well, as you know, Neil, this is an industry that takes the prices that the market supplies. We don't make the price. And those prices are supplied by the futures markets, not by the American oil and gas industry. So these accusations of price fixing have been around for decades and decades, and they're always proven wrong, and they'll be proven wrong again. We want to make sure that we're continuing to supply the world that the energy needs here in the United States. The best way to get prices down is through more production in the most prolific region in the world to get oil and gas right here in the United States.
Mike Sommers.